Hello and welcome to the Bike Show once again. As always, we're at Rim and Rubber Assembly in Greenside. Fantastic biking establishment, which is our home, away from home. This week, the show has got something of a racing tinge to it. Well, actually, it's got a lot of a racing tinge to it. Later in the show, we'll be speaking to a young South African lady who is about to head off to the Red Bull Rookies auditions, I suppose you could call them. And that is where a certain famous South African started. Nice link into our main feature for this show, which just happens to be a world champion, a South African world champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Brad Binder, Moto3 World Champion. So I suppose I should start, Brad, by saying thank you very much for joining us from Spain. And start with a really sort of leading question in... I bet you're fed up with these interviews already, aren't you?
No, thanks for having me on the show. It's always good to hear some South African accents, that's for sure. But yeah, I mean, the last 2 days have been crazy. You know, I get calls, I don't know, honestly, I still reckon I probably have like 100 missed calls on my phone. So I'm starting to get to them, but every time I think I've cleared them, then I get like 100 more, so...
Well, this is it, world champion. Your life has changed permanently now. This is going to be it every weekend from now on. Let's get back to this last race. You were on for the championship, in theory. So we all sat there waiting to watch you. Brad's going to take it easy. Brad didn't take it easy. I thought there would be a strategy. What was all that about? You were as much of a madman as you normally are. Did you just put the whole kind of world championship out of your mind?
Well, you know, my game plan was just to go there and win the race. And, you know, all weekend we were quite strong, but I was struggling quite a lot as soon as the tyres had like 5-6 laps on them. So, you know, basically when it came down to it in the race, I was really struggling. And, yeah, I mean, the last lap, I put myself in the perfect position to win the race, but then we got to the corkscrew and basically the kid behind me went and rode over the curb and gave me a good bump. So, yeah, I lost out on like quite a lot of time there. So, luckily I still managed to get past him quick enough and get close enough in the next couple of corners to get a good slip down the back straight, but I was just a little bit too far. So, yeah, I mean, I was a bit bleak not to win the race because I think I could have, but... you know, to finish second and still win the World Championship was enough. So, yeah, I'm really
damn cool. Yeah, pretty damn cool. I do have to... Well, more applause, why not? Obviously, we watched the race. What was with that last turn at the end of the straight? It looked like your bike suddenly developed massive understeer every time you went in there.
Yeah, that was our main struggle, basically. Every single time I'd enter a corner, the thing would be perfect. And as soon as I'd release the brake, it would just go wide. And as you know, as soon as that happens, you can't open the throttle. So, yeah, it was basically 20 laps of that in a few different corners. You know, some parts of the track I was much stronger than other guys, but then we had these 2-3 corners where I stood absolutely no chance. So, you know, yeah, it was tough. I didn't expect it. But at the end of the day, a second position isn't the end of the world.
I think that's pretty much the understatement of the year when you happen to win the World Championship at the same time. In terms of the race itself, just to go back to the start, I think it was the first time that the international commentators and stuff haven't been able to get to you on the grid. I think your team sort of said, listen, not this week, Brad's properly focused. So there was something different about this race, wasn't there?
Honestly, for me, everything was pretty much the same. I think for my team and the media, they made a much bigger scene out of everything.
That's what we do, man. That's what we do.
You know, when we got to the grid, my team were like, okay, today no interviews. So I was like, okay, cool, no worries, you know. I mean, it was a bit of a strange weekend. You know, I arrived there really relaxed and I wasn't too stressed at all. And then once we had the press conference and all of that stuff, I started to maybe think a little bit too much and then almost started to realize what we could achieve. So it definitely made the weekend a little bit more stressful. But, you know, I think at the end of the day, I was still probably a lot more relaxed than everyone else. So it was pretty good.
So tell me, we were discussing among the lads here, you're now world champion. I think it's 4 races left in the season. It goes one of two ways, I suppose. It's either a matter of no pressure, just really going to enjoy myself, and I really fancy winning a few more races this season, or it's a matter of, I tell you what, I'm world champion already. I can't really be bothered with putting it on the line for the last four. Which way is it going to go?
For me, it's 100% I'm there to win. So, these next four races, I'm going to go there with nothing to lose. And it's going to be different for sure, because lately I've always felt like I have 5% in my pocket, So, honestly, I want to go to the front, I want to start, and I want to ride away from the guys. That's my goal. At least at one of the next four races, so I hope I get it right.
Okay, we got a lot of travelling ahead of you, and then back to Spain. Which track would you say that's most likely to happen at?
Probably because of all the long straights, maybe Japan. Japan, maybe I could try and get away a little bit. But, Phillip Island is almost no chance. And, Malaysia is pretty much the same story. So if I don't do it in Japan, it's going to have to maybe try be Valencia after that.
Okay, well, I don't know if you know, viewers, but I'm pretty sure I'm correct. Brad, you've signed again for the same team and with KTM, but moving up to Moto2 next year. How cool is that? Have you ridden the bike yet? Are we allowed to ask? Oh, I'm asking you. Are you allowed to answer?
Well, I was meant to start testing the bike already on Monday after the race on Sunday. So basically, we had prepared for that. I had a bike there and everything, so I was meant to ride Moto2. And then because I'm not an official Moto2 rider and it was an official test, they had like a waiver that every team had to sign to say that I could test. And basically half of them never signed the thing, so I wasn't allowed to.
That's a good sign, though. They don't want you getting any kind of head start. Have you had to go on any Moto2 bike yet, or...?
Last year in Valencia, because I had a deal with my crew chief. He was also Zarco's crew chief at the time. And if I got 4 podiums in the year, he would let me have a spin on Zarco's bike. So, I did 10 laps in Valencia on the bike, but that's about it, nothing else.
And tell me, after the Moto3, is it a shock in any way? I can't imagine the power, which is probably only 600, 140 horsepower or something. I can't imagine that's a massive step. And the bike is more production-based in a way. It's heavier and, what do you think it will be difficult to adapt to, or is it going to be a breeze?
No, for sure, I don't think the power is something it's definitely not a problem, the power. When I rode the bike, the first feeling was, it's not actually that fast. I expected a lot more. But, it's definitely a lot heavier. And, in Moto2, things are so competitive and it's not a case of just kind of going for it and biting the bullet and try to fight with the guys. In Moto2, I think it's all about just having good rhythm and to keep a steady pace, because you never really see a big fight in Moto2.
True.
So, it's definitely going to be a bit more of it's going to be a different approach for sure. But, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm sure if I carry on working hard like I have this year, I don't know if it might take a few races, maybe a year or two, but, I'm sure I'll get to the top of Moto2 as well.
I like that. I like that a lot. Is it, I believe Oliveira's coming back to be your teammate. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, definitely. Luckily for me now to have Miguel in the team, at least he's got 1 year experience on the bike. So, I think for me it'll be cool because they can stick all the test parts on him because he has a good idea, and I can just get the stuffs when it's all a bit better. So I'm looking forward to it.
Is there an order in the team already, or is it a matter of fight it out or are you? You're the world champ. I presume you're number 1 rider.
Well, I signed before him, if that means anything. I don't know. But we'll see. You know how it is. In a team, there's always going to be some sort of structure if one of the guys are fighting for the world championship and the other one isn't.
Yeah.
Honestly, maybe you don't really see it that often at home, but in the paddock, you see it all the time. But, I really hope it doesn't happen again.
And tell me the truth, are you excited about next year or a bit sort of nervous, worried? It's a big challenge, new bike, new team, new class. Or are you just properly eager? There's no worries whatsoever. You want to get at it.
No, I want to start. I wish I could have started on Monday already. You know, I was on the phone to the boss today. I said, hey, can't you try and get a quick little private test going before the away races? But, you know, they're going to try and make a plan for me. But, you know, going into Moto2 is definitely going to be, it's a big step. But, you know, it's something, at the moment I'm a bit bored of Moto3, you know. I arrived to the track, I've been there, I know all my markers before I even do my first lap. So I'm ready for a new challenge and something that will hopefully make it a bit more interesting. It's going to be difficult. Like you said earlier, you know, it's a brand new bike. I'm a rookie in the class. It's not going to be easy. I'm sure of that. But, you know, you never know what can happen. You know, you got to go there with the mindset that you're going to go and try and destroy everybody. But, you know, it's probably not going to happen, that's for sure.
Hey, man, you're the best in the world. You're allowed to say stuff like that.
But, you know what I mean. You got to go there with the right attitude. But at the end of the day, I'm ready. If it's going to be difficult, which I think it's going to be, you know, I'm ready to really take my time and do it properly. So when I arrive to the front, I'll stay there.
Fantastic. Well, I tell you what, Brad, it's been an absolute pleasure watching you this year. Ladies and gentlemen, Brad Binder, world champion. Okay, listen, Brad, thank you so much again for your time. We have ambushed your parents. We'll be speaking to them later. I asked them a question. We don't really know. I presume you get your world championship trophy at the end of the year at some kind of award. Are you allowed to take it away? How big is it? And can you bring it here to South Africa and show us?
I have no clue. I'll tell you if I get it.
Okay, fair enough. We hope you'll be able to get it. We hope you'll be able to bring it. And we'd love to see you in here come December. We believe you're coming back and meet all these wonderful fans who are here without fail to support you. So, ladies and gents, one final round of applause. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much. And that's all we've got time for at the moment. We're going to an ad break. We'll be back with another racer in a moment.